What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about general liability insurance for your brewery. This is a super important piece of protection that you have to have, and the reason is because it protects you from all kinds of things that can happen, especially when you've got people on your property, in your brewery, drinking beer, doing tours, all the things that people do, or at least you want them to be doing if your brewery's doing well. So let's go along here and check out exactly what this piece of protection does and why it's great that you have it. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about what this coverage does for your business, and later on we'll get to what it actually doesn't do. All right, the first thing that this does, the first major piece of protection for general liability for your brewery is premises liability. Now, what this means in a nutshell is if someone comes onto your property, onto your premises, and they get hurt, something happens to them, if they can say you are negligent for them getting injured, then you could be held responsible. And that's what this piece of protection does. You want people to be there, as I said before, you want people to be walking around, you want people to have beer in their hand in your tasting room, you want people to be doing brew tours to see all those big gorgeous fermenters that you spent so much money on. There are things everywhere. You've got people in the front drinking. There are all kinds of things that can happen. Premises liability protection protects you from almost anything that can happen if people get hurt on your premises and hold you responsible. All right, the second major piece of protection for your general liability insurance for your brewery is going to be personal and advertising protection. So personal and advertising liability. Now, what in the world does that mean? So basically what this means is if you say something that's untrue, if you do something harmful to someone in print, online, any way that you do something to harm someone else through media. Good example, back in the day, you are doing an interview, you say a lie or something harmful about, let's say, another brewery or whatever, they sue you for damages for, let's say, slander or libel, something like that. This was the policy, this was the piece of the policy that protected you, and now it's even more important than ever because, newsflash guys, our entire lives are online. Everything is on social media, everything is somewhere on the internet. Every single day you have people probably that work for you at your brewery online saying something, and you could say something about someone else that is very harmful. The next thing you know, you get a lawsuit coming in, right? So this piece of protection is so important nowadays. It used to be really important in the days of old print advertising. Nowadays, it's even more important because there are so many ways that we talk about ourselves and other people with words online. So make sure that you've got this piece of coverage, that you understand what it does. And also, when you know about something like this, it helps you to educate your staff. If they're hanging out after hours and someone gets a hold of your phone and next thing you know, you accidentally tweet something about a rival brewery and you could be taken to court for it. So knowing what this does also helps you prevent something like that from ever occurring because you know it can happen. So this is a massive part of general liability for your brewery. All right, so we just went over the when it helps you, right? So what situation you have to go through in order for general liability to kick in. Now let's talk about how it helps you in those situations. So the first thing is going to be legal protection. And this cannot be overstated enough in our lawsuit happy life that we live in every single day. This is a really important thing because if someone sues you for, like I said, for slipping and falling on your premises or for something that you said about them on the internet, if they take you to court, general liability is the piece of insurance that is going to step up and is going to pay for court fees. It's going to pay for legal expenses. It's going to pay for damages if you're found at fault. This is a really, really important piece because it's more expensive than ever to have to go to court. It's more expensive than ever if you have to pay something out. Damages are crazy, and especially if someone decides to make an example out of you. So this is a great piece of protection in your general liability policy. Okay, so the second how it helps you, the second way that it really helps you in those situations is going to be medical expenses. Now, of course, I'm not talking about your medical expenses. I'm not talking about the medical expenses of your staff. I'm talking about the medical expenses of the people that get hurt on your property. This is so important nowadays because anyone in the back, does anyone like to pay for healthcare in America? Probably not. It's the same situation for someone if you're on the hook for somebody who got hurt in your brewery, in your brew pub, in your restaurant, in your bar, whatever the situation might be. This can be crazy expensive, and the worse they get hurt, the more it's gonna cost you. You don't wanna be on the hook for that. And if you have general liability insurance, we will step up. Your insurance company will pay medical expenses that happen from someone getting hurt. Now, you're probably thinking, how badly could somebody get hurt in a brewery? But I bet a few of you know things that have happened in breweries and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this could be nuts. It's a really important thing, and yes, it is in your general liability policy. All right, so that's awesome, right? It covers a lot of really great things, but what does it not do? What does your GL, which is what we call general liability, what does your GL policy not do well? There are a few things. So the first thing that your GL does not help you with is liquor liability. I've already talked about that in another blog and video. If you are at fault for getting someone else drunk and they can prove it, liquor liability does that. General liability does not. General liability says that's a different situation and we don't cover that. Make sure you know that your liquor liability is separate from your general liability. Oh, and it should go without saying that your business property is not covered under general liability. That's covered under your property insurance coverage. General liability doesn't protect your stuff, doesn't protect any of the fermenters. Your mash tun doesn't protect the building, doesn't protect any of your bar equipment, doesn't protect any of that. That's all on a separate piece of your brewery insurance policy. Okay, so some of you probably learned something in this. Some of you said, oh yeah, I didn't know that, or I knew that this happened this way. Or you might have said, oh, this is old hat for me. I talked to my agent. I know my policy inside and out. No matter what your situation is, if you're in the first situation, then great. If you're in the second situation, maybe you want a second opinion. But whatever your situation is, us at Alliance, we can help you because the number one thing is we're passionate about this. We love talking about breweries. We love talking to people about brewery insurance. We love everything about the business. In fact, this is pretty fun for us. I mean, a lot of insurance is just kind of like your normal rote everyday business. But when we get to talk to people in the brewery world, it excites us. It's something fun. It takes me back to when I was a beer and wine sales rep in California. So it's something really good for me. It's something really good for everyone here at Alliance. And so if you want to kind of tap into that passion for what you do, why don't you go ahead, call us, shoot us an email, fill out the form below so that we can really see the specifics of what your brewery does, who you are, what you want, and then we can make sure that you have things like your general liability policy sorted on top, everything perfect, so that you are protected no matter what happens, and so that you can do what you do all day long, which is make the best beer you can possibly make. Thanks so much for watching this, guys. If you have any questions, reach out to us. Again, thanks for watching. And if you like this, why not go ahead and give us a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below if it's positive and if it's not how I'm a massive nerd and that last part is a little true. Regardless, give us some love. Thank you for watching this, and we'll see you around.